Greetings, all. It is Friday, February 21st, 2025, and it is time for a market update. There's a lot to cover. There's a lot happening right now. Not all of it's great. So I'm going to dig into, I'm going to start off with the big event from today and some of the things that led up to this. But then I'm also going to talk about there's a lot of positive things happening. And I'm going to break off and do a separate video that walks through the different DePIN projects because they are still building. It's a lot of good things happening in the DePIN space, other than the price of these different projects. They've been kind of collateral damage with everything that's happening. But to kick things off, the big news of the day, Bybit got hacked for over $1.4 billion, the largest crypto hack in history. As it turns out, they keep 60 to 70% of their assets in cold storage, and somehow or another, it sounds like the smart contract was compromised when they were trying to shift funds, and they were drained. And so this came out earlier today. Not good, to say the least. Definitely not good. The question, of course, is how is this going to impact the markets? Well, we obviously saw what happened to Ethereum. It's like since 2025 started, feels like on Fridays, really bad things happen. As soon as the market starts recovering, something like this happens. Obviously, this is a pretty big deal. And the question is, are they going to be able to make people whole or not? As of now, they're stating they will. They said they're solvent. We've heard this story before. I would say if I had funds on Bybit, I would be pulling those for sure. I'm not sure with Ethereum right now, you might not be able to pull it off. Now, this Ben guy is the CEO. He did go on a live stream. He said that they're going to make everyone whole. They have funds in their treasury. They're taking out loans. So the people should be good. It definitely has impacted the market. We've seen the market really fall off today on this news. And, again, like I said, we've seen this before a couple times. So obviously FTX did the same thing, Duquan. Anyway, not to FUD the market. I think, from what I've read, it sounds like they're going to be able to make everyone whole. But I personally would be removing my assets from the exchange. Anyway, that's just me, though. Okay, so more details have emerged, by the way. So it looks like the hacker is moving all the assets over to Solana. There's some theories out there that they're going, because to be able to withdraw that much money would be really difficult with KYC and the different requirements now. So a lot of people are expecting they'll move it to Solana, which seems to be happening. And they're going to start to buy meme coins with other wallets and then use these funds to pump it and then pull out of other wallets in order to kind of circumvent things. We'll have to wait and see. But it does seem there are some reports saying that this hack was done by the Lazarus Group, which is a hacker group out of North Korea. So that's interesting. I don't know if this is verified, but this is what's going around as of right now. Now, this came up kind of funny. All of a sudden, North Korea announced a $1.5 billion strategic Ethereum reserve. That's not real. But, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So not great. Not great. Look, the events leading up to all of this, because there's a lot that's happened since my last update. If we go back to the end of last year, we started to see funds move into the AI agent scene. I think people were starting to get sick of these meme coins, and they wanted something with utility, or at least perceived utility. And that's why we started seeing these funds move over. But of course, if you remember, Trump launched his meme coin, and that pulled a lot of liquidity from the market into that. And that thing has been down ever since. A lot of people lost a lot of money on that, unless you got in really early. Otherwise, you probably lost money. And then they launched Melania. And I think people FOMO'd into that missed out on Trump, and both of them wrecked a lot of people, frankly. So that was kind of the beginning of things moving in the wrong direction. And then if you remember, on a Friday, we had the tariff scare with Canada and Mexico. Now, those have been pushed out for now, but it certainly impacted the markets. In all of this, we've seen Bitcoin get hit. It's recovered pretty well, but altcoins have just bled, and they have never fully recovered since. They just continue to bleed, it seems. And then we had the next Friday. It was DeepSeek, right? So that scare came out, and Nvidia took a hit for a little bit there. Obviously, things kind of recovered from there, but the meme coin, or the altcoins rather, have continued to bleed. Bitcoin stayed in this, in the 90,000s, and it's been consolidating in there for quite a while. I'm going to touch on that a little bit more in a minute, but it has been absolutely brutal. Now, some of this seems manipulated too. So when it comes to Binance, right, and they've done this several times now in prior market cycles, they tend to sell off their assets when people are in long positions and over leveraged and liquidate the market. And this is kind of what happened. I mean, we had the news situations come out, with obviously the tariffs, DeepSeek, Trump coin, etc., kind of leading up to this. And then to add fuel to the fire, Binance sold off a bunch of assets, and it liquidated a lot of people. In fact, it was the biggest liquidation event in history, bigger than FTX. Absolutely crazy. So this is just a few weeks ago. Oh, man, all of this has been very exhausting, I have to say. So fast forward. Dave Portnoy started getting into the crypto space, and he endorsed this jail stool coin. Wasn't launched by him, but he endorsed it. A lot of money started flowing into that. And then, after Trump launched his coin, we had the president of Argentina. It was like, oh yeah, hold my beer. I'm going to go ahead and launch a token too. This is where things have gotten really ugly. Well, until today with the Bybit situation. But this thing, the Libra token, went up above 4 billion market cap. And then, after the president of Argentina tweeted about it, okay? And then this thing basically rugged, and then he deleted the tweet and claimed to have nothing to do with it. Only to a couple of days later, then tweet again with instructions on how to buy it. Crazy stuff. And then came out and said, oh, I never promoted it. I just shared it. It's like, bro, you're the president of a country. If you're going to share a contract address for a crypto, a meme coin, you're promoting that. That's absolutely crazy. And a lot of people, a lot of big accounts lost a lot of money. Like this guy, for example, he's been all over the place recently.
I'm gonna find you, Dennis. I'm gonna find you. You rugged me. I have nothing. I have to sell my Rolex. I have to sell it. I have to sell all my shit. I don't have anything. Against you pieces of shit. You rugged me. You all rugged me, bro.
So some people have taken it better than others. Granted, that guy, I believe he lost like $1 million on the Argentina coin. So I'd be upset too. This guy, by the way, started lashing out at like Portnoy, at the Argentinian president. Apparently the president of Argentina DM'd him on Twitter. It's turning this whole thing. Now he's blocked by these people. Either way, lots of drama around this, and a lot of people got drained. So you have all these events that have just been wrecking the markets over the past few weeks, and it has been brutal. Starting with the tariffs, DeepSeek, Argentina, a president of a country rugging people. Oh, and then Portnoy went out and rugged more people on 2 more projects. Like, what the hell? And now this centralized exchange hack today, it has been pretty bad. So the other thing I'll say about this, by the way, and I think there's some silver lining to take away from all this, but we started finding out a lot more about what was happening in the meme coin scene. Conversations started getting leaked, assuming this is real, of course. But this Hayden Davis guy right here, he apparently has been responsible for a lot of these meme coin launches. He has ties to the Trump coin and Melania, and was the one that created this Argentina coin. And now these conversations are emerging that on prior projects, he's talking about we need to have max extraction on this one. So essentially, and I think we all knew this was happening to an extent, right? With these meme coins, these big accounts were coordinating these token launches, obviously. But I think it's much bigger than we realized. And they were setting up side wallets where they were getting tokens directly after the launch and then buying with the wallets people knew about to pump the token and then taking profits. And, look, these meme coins, they are a complete gamble. And just like when you go to the casino has the advantage. But in this case, I would say retail has been at a severe disadvantage and all of this stuff's getting exposed. I, for one, am hoping that people are finally getting exhausted with all of this BS because, you look at this. I thought this was kind of funny, but funny as long as you don't have a lot of exposure to these meme coins, at least. But take a look at these charts. My goodness, just wrecked, all of them, all of them. A lot of these got into the hundreds of millions, some in billions, dead. The meme coin space is just gone. All these people wrecked, wrecked. I can't say I feel that bad. I mean, I'm hoping, thinking I was talking about the silver lining here. I'm hoping that this is going to bring people back to utility projects that are truly building because I'm tired of this casino. Like, I have to say, I know we will be back. Yeah, I don't know about that. Um, Look, I know that the people that are working on these deep in projects, the teams, are super frustrated. And I think for people that are invested in deep in projects, like I'm frustrated with this whole situation because there are teams that are really building, generating revenue. And there's always been this misconception. Well, I don't know that it is a misconception at this point, but that crypto is, full of scammers. There's a lot of it for sure. But for the people that are really building that are trying to, show that blockchain has real utility and real value, this is incredibly frustrating to see these coins go to billion-dollar market caps. Fart coin go to like multi-billion-dollar market cap, and then all these people are just getting rugged. So my hope is that people are going to be sick and tired of the scammers. There is one other event I want to bring up before I turn to the positive. There's a lot of positive stuff happening right now, by the way. So we're going to touch on all of that. But there is a big token unlock happening. And you're going to see a lot more about this probably in the next week or so. These are Solana tokens that were purchased after the FTX debacle. They were purchased at a discount. Back then, the price of Solana was much lower. These are all unlocking on March 1st, 2.2 billion at current prices. So this is going to be a pretty substantial token unlock. It could negatively impact the markets, depends on if they sell or not. But once it unlocks, they will be at a pretty big gain. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some selling there. But this is another event that is coming up. People should be aware of. And I think you'll start seeing more people talk about it here because it's coming up pretty soon. All right. Oh, man. This has been super frustrating, super exhausting. It's like as soon as we start getting life, it's just like, bam. No, you cannot have nice things in crypto. But I think things are going to turn around, y'all. Let's start off with positive news. Starting off with Michael Saylor. He's a G. This guy just does not stop. He is raising funds to buy another $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Fantastic news. But he's not the only one. We have banks. Okay. Banks are starting to accumulate, y'all. Bank of Montreal, $790 million of MicroStrategy. We have Bank of Canada, $525 million. They're not the only one. You have, the UBS, $1.2 billion. This is big news, y'all. The banks are accumulating. And then when you look at the states, a lot of states have introduced legislation for reserves. Now, I want to be very clear here because I see this being posted a lot. This does not mean that these have been passed. Okay, this is legislation that has been submitted and is underway, but it has to be approved. And it doesn't mean that any of these are going to get approved. But I will say it looks like Utah might be the first one. They're getting close. Check this out. Of all the states, this would be truly historic. I hope it happens. And it would be really, really exciting. Better believe if the U.S., I'll talk about that more in a minute, they announced the strategic reserve. There's me mad FOMO. But again, I'll talk about that in a second. We're seeing countries purchase Bhutan over $1 billion. And then look at the countries here that are introducing legislature for strategic reserves. So some are further along than others. Obviously, we know El Salvador has been there, but there's a lot of countries here that are pushing forward legislation. We'll just wait and see which ones get passed. But this is very positive news. Now, I mentioned the U.S. So there was a press conference with David Sachs, probably, I guess, a couple weeks ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago. And it was about crypto. A lot of the conference was really focused on regulatory changes and stable coins more specifically. But there's something at the end of that conference I think a lot of people missed. Hopefully the volume comes through here. But I'm going to play this. This is at the very end of the conference, and David Sachs was asked about a Bitcoin reserve.
So one of the things that the president instructed us to do was to evaluate the idea for a Bitcoin reserve, and so that is one of the things. That's one of the first things we're going to look at as part of the internal working group in the administration. So as soon as we get all that set up, we're still waiting for some cabinet secretaries who are on the working group to get confirmed. So we're still in the very early stages of this, but that's one of the first things we're gonna look at is the feasibility of a Bitcoin reserve.
So this is going to be prioritized. It sounds like it's something they're taking very seriously. That is good news. Okay. If a strategic Bitcoin reserve is announced by the U.S., and I have a video on this and why I think this is going to happen, but you better believe that not only are other countries going to start accumulating and FOMOing in, but think about all the people who have been on the sideline that don't really know about crypto, that just watch the media. The media is constantly fudding everything, especially Bitcoin, because they don't understand it. If all of a sudden the U.S. government announces a strategic reserve, this thing has legitimacy. You better believe that every person is going to be calling up their financial advisor asking why they don't have Bitcoin. Okay. The FOMO is going to get real. The supply squeeze is going to get real. And I do think this is coming. It's just a question of when, in my opinion, not if, but we'll see. We'll see. The other thing, M2 money supply is back on the rise. That's good. The more liquidity and more money in circulation, the more you see money flow into stocks, especially crypto. So that'd be a good thing. And China has certainly joined the fun there. Look at that. That was just today. They are adding mass amounts of liquidity. That is a wild chart. That is like what we saw back during COVID in the US. So like, hey, man, we want to play too. China actually has a pretty substantial impact on the crypto market. So I would imagine we're going to see some of this money start flowing in. That is certainly a good thing. I mentioned early in the video that Binance had kind of been manipulating things. Well, they're starting to buy back up again. Of course they are. They were part of the cause of the biggest liquidation event in crypto history. And now they're like, oh yeah, now we're going to buy back. Screw you guys. You guys all got washed out. Cool. Real cool. And here they are. Yeah, they're buying back assets. Fantastic. Real cool, Binance. Whales are accumulating. You're seeing a lot of this. I mean, whale about 404.5 Bitcoin worth $39 million. We're seeing this is a common theme. When the market drops like this, retail gets scared. People start to panic sell, and then you see whales accumulate, and it happens every time. Watch the smart money, man. Just watch the smart money. The other thing I want to point out is a lot of these big purchases are happening OTC, not in the open market. So has not had as much of an impact on the price as it would if they're market buying. This is an interesting chart. So this shows that the supply, the OTC supply, is dropping significantly. This is a big deal. Once once the OTC supply runs out and people have to start buying in the open market, we're going to see this buying pressure from BlackRock. A lot of these countries are probably doing OTC purchases. A lot of this stuff, I bet MicroStrategy is too. So when they have to start buying on the, doing market buys, we are going to see all of this buying pressure finally have its full true impact on the price. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. But the supply squeeze is real. We're seeing that like on a day-to-day basis and many days, there's 10 times more buying than the amount of Bitcoin being minted. Like it's crazy to me that the price is where it is. Granted, the price of Bitcoin, where is it right now? Like $96,000. Let me look. Yeah, $96,000. It's just crazy to me. Like everyone's so negative, and Bitcoin's at $96,000. Now, granted, all coins have gotten absolutely wrecked. A lot of them are sitting around where they were in the bear market. Crazy. Well, if you're just getting in to crypto now, I mean, shoot, kind of lucky actually. Have a good buying opportunity. Normally, you don't have it this low during a bull run. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, FTX payments started going back out. A couple of things to note here. They're, for people that own Bitcoin, they're getting reimbursed in stable coins based on the value of Bitcoin when this was filed. That really sucks for those people because Bitcoin was way, way, way lower when this took place. So heavy discount. For people holding Ethereum, well, Ethereum price hasn't changed that much. So they didn't take nearly as much of a hit. Sad, but true. Oh man, Solana ETF. There's been a couple of these just today, I believe. Solana ETF applications. I believe a Solana ETF is coming. And I think this would be huge. Think about this. It's going to give people in the legacy markets the ability to buy Solana. Okay. And then people that are holding Solana, when that price pumps, which I would imagine it would based on the ETF, you would think they would start taking profits and moving them into other altcoins. This could be very, very bullish. I know in prior things that I've read, sometime spring of this year is when we could start seeing this. So I believe as early as March. This was big news today. The lawsuit from the SEC against Coinbase is being dropped. Like no fines, no nothing. Like that is really, really big news. So again, there's so much positive stuff. It's just been overshadowed by all the negative. Oh, this is something I wanted to bring up. As far as the CPI numbers go, and this is kind of looking forward to what we might be able to see here. So rent costs are a big part of that calculation. And we're seeing that new tenant rent is dropping substantially. So generally it takes about 9 months for this to filter out for people that are signing new leases for this to get truly represented. But because it is such a big part of the CPI numbers, looking forward, this could be very, very good for our inflation numbers. And we actually had Jerome Powell hint at the fact that we could start seeing rates get cut as soon as this summer. It doesn't look like they're going to be raising rates. That's a good thing. Certainly, this would be helpful. If the CPI numbers come down, that would allow the Fed a little bit more leniency as far as dropping rates. Okay, we need to see that start to turn in the right direction. And the other thing I'll bring up, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's talk right now that 20% of the Doge savings
under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt. There's even
they're estimating right now this could be as much as like $5,000 check to taxpayers. Now, Whether that's a good idea or not, I mean, it'd certainly be a political win, obviously. I think a lot of the people that are really up in arms about Doge would change their tune pretty quickly if they got a $5,000 check in the mail. But, I mean, we're in like $36 trillion of debt. I don't know that sending out $5,000 is the best decision. And not to mention, it could also impact inflation. If all of a sudden people have an extra $5,000 to spend, I don't know that it's going to help inflation at least. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But if it does happen, I would imagine that's going to be very, very bullish for crypto. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that will throw money into crypto. We saw this back in 2020 when the stimulus checks went out. People were throwing that in the stock market, throwing that in crypto. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Probably won't happen immediately, but could be certainly interesting. So, my overall thoughts on this, we've seen there's been so many big negative events. In prior market cycles, this would have absolutely crushed the market. I mean, Bitcoin would have just been demolished. The fact that it's holding up as well as it is, after just 2 weeks ago, the largest liquidation event in crypto history, today, the largest hack in crypto history, and Bitcoin is still sitting at $96,000 is wild. Absolutely wild. Obviously, the altcoins have gotten wrecked. But if you're in the projects with utility, and again, I'm going to do a separate video on this. I'm going to cover all the updates. The DePIN projects, they are building. There is so much happening. Revenue generation, true building. They're making moves. And I have to think that at some point, once the market rebounds, once we can breathe a little bit and these bad things stop happening, like hopefully soon, and the market starts to rebound, I think we will see finally a rotation into utility and DePIN. And that's what we all have been waiting for. So hopefully you found this video helpful or interesting at the very least. And be on the lookout for the DePIN video. I'm going to probably get that out tomorrow and highlight all of the things that are happening. Very exciting times overall. Just got to have to stop looking at the short-term price action and just stay to your conviction plays. I think we'll be all right. As always, I appreciate your viewership. Signing off. It's Bradley Meyer with the DePIN Connection.